All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in again to your local locksmith, Urban Lock and Key, coming at you with another video. Today we are working on a 2006 Chevy Silverado. This is the B102 key non-transponder ignition. Customers lost the key. We're here to pull the ignition and get the key code off of it. Just a few things in general. One of the biggest things you're going to have to do is take the shroud off the back of the steering column. As you can see right here, the shroud is removed. A couple of things you're going to need. You're going to need a pick. I've actually had mine, I've been able to bend mine to the proper angle that it needs to be. And you're going to need these Jimmy keys, is what I call them, because they help me get in a lot of vehicles by jimmying the door open. So there's other terminology for it, but I like to call it a Jimmy key. This is the B102 version. This is the one I made from another video from a fellow locksmith over in Cali. I'll go ahead and share that video if anybody needs the information on knowing how to make these keys. I have the B102, B106 set up. All right, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. But what I'm going to do here first is I'm going to go ahead and just walk you through the process right quick. One thing that I would make sure you do, in order to remove the cylinder out of the ignition, it has to be in between the on and accessory mode. So right when you get past the on position to where you turn it on and the power is cycled to the gauge cluster, it needs to be slightly turned past that, between the cranking part and the on position rather. But if you remove the battery, you wouldn't have to worry about the battery dying while it's in that position while you're cutting the key. But so first thing we're going to do, like I said, you're going to take the top piece. They just clip together. All right. Generally, you would have a screw, if you can see it. I can't get back there far enough. There would be a screw here. And also another one way at the bottom. Right there. If you can see it. Those two are broken off from the tab here, of course. You can see one screw hole there. They just glued it together, and then there's another one right here. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. First thing you're gonna do is, there is on these cylinders, there's this detent bar, and you want to depress it to where it pushes in the pins so it can move freely. The sidebar that's on here, all you're doing is putting the pick inside this. You're going to take this pick, stick it inside the sidebar right here that sits on the side of the cylinder, and all you're doing is turning it slightly so that when you put your key in, the jiggler key, you're going to actually run it in and out, raking it and slowly turning as you're raking. And all it's doing is pushing that sidebar forward slightly so it can cause the cylinder to turn. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to lift it. We're going to lift the steering column back up. And right there, that little space that you see is where you want to put the pick. Right in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right quick. Try to do it with the video. Okay, I'll do it from this side better. As you can see, I got the pick started. The only problem is finding, there we go. Now we got it in. Yep. Now we got it in. So now that we have the pick on the actual bar itself, pushing it Next thing we're going to do is to take the B102 jiggler key and put it into ignition. And all you're going to do is just rake back and forth, and it'll turn. Now you don't want it to turn too far because this will get stuck. Once you get the ignition to turn, then you want to pull the steering column back down. On top of the housing here, there's a depress opening to where you put your pick in, and as you push it down, when you turn the ignition, the cylinder itself will come free. All right, this is video 2 of 2006 Chevy Silverado ignition removal. Here is the removal part. I'm going to try to do this the best way I can. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and stick it in my pocket and see if I can get it going that way. Yeah, that ain't gonna work either. This is really hard to do. Sorry about that. Nobody needs to see my ugly face. Let's see what I can get going like this. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but I'm gonna try to do it from a different angle. All I'm doing is just turning the ignition slightly to push down the release bar. Last thing you want to do is to push it down. Let's see, there we go. All right, so I was able to release the cylinder. Now, one thing I want to make sure I note is that a lot of people like to take these caps off. Under certain years and certain models, these caps do not come off. If you do pry them off, they will break just because of how easy they are, how fragile they are. Some of them are not made to come off, okay? So when you remove this cylinder, you want to be very careful, because this bar right here is the release bar. And under certain circumstances, you can actually cause that bar to fly off. Okay? So what we were doing inside the ignition was taking our pick and pushing up against this bar right here. Okay? So in other words, let's see if I can hold it properly. We took the pick. We were going inside the hole like so, and just pushing up against this bar. Just enough for it to turn. So when we were sitting inside the housing, it went like that, bam. And we pushed it in just enough to turn it. And that's all we needed to do. All right, folks, like always, if this video has been helpful to you, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to leave my information in the comments below. If there's any videos that you need to see or anything that you need any help with, or you need some collaboration on, if you have a project that's been lingering and you can't figure it out, please let me know. I have been doing this for quite a while now, and my services have become very experienced. I will say this much: if in the automotive world, it is very drastic that you take your time and you focus on what you're doing, because if you don't pay attention to what you're doing, you're liable to make mistakes, and some mistakes can be costly. Just from experiences alone, I've made quite a few mistakes, but I don't consider them mistakes. I consider them educational experiences of what not to do. or how to do something better. But like always, if you like the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for more videos.